If you're looking for healing, motivation, and encouragement, check out Queen's Opinion Podcast, where lifetime events can change and inspire your life. Peace. Welcome back to another episode of Queen's Opinion Podcast. I am your host, Queen Kira, and today I have a special guest, Ebony Mayberry. Hey, Ebony.
Hi.
Welcome.
How are you? Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, today we really don't have a subject at hand. We'll just be asking you I'll just be asking you a few questions. We're just going to let it flow like we normally do on Queen's Opinion Podcast. So,
let's do it.
How's it been going?
It's been good. I mean, it's been good. I'm blessed. I
Okay.
really can't complain. But, you know, we have our ups and downs.
Of course.
Our roller coaster.
Life been lifing.
Yes.
Okay. That's normal. So I was just sitting back thinking like, okay, I haven't been in tune for a while. So just getting back in the swing and hang of things, just taking time out just for self at times. So like seeing that we've been in Georgia for a while and getting things taken care of and moving forward, trying to grow, trying to heal, trying to endure certain things and just keep it moving. How has that been for you?
The beginning, it was cool.
Okay.
When I decided I was going to move to Georgia,
Uh-huh.
I had, at first I was originally planning on moving to Arizona.
So first, tell everyone where you're from.
I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Okay. Every time I tell people I'm from Michigan, they automatically think Detroit.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to put G-Rap on the map.
Okay,
There's a
okay.
lot of famous people from Grand Rapids. We got Floyd Mayweather. We got Marvin Sapp.
Okay.
We got the DeBarges and Adina Howard.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a
Okay.
little bit.
You
And we
got some
got
people.
we got me.
Okay. Of course. You could let them know this about later on, of course.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, I was planning on moving out there because it was closer to LA.
Okay.
And I got family in LA, and I wanted to pursue acting.
Okay.
Well, I have been doing acting, but I wanted to fully pursue it. So I was going to move to Arizona so I could be closer to LA without having to live in LA
Gotcha.
and it being so expensive.
Okay.
So, I went out there, visited my cousin for a little bit to get the feel of it, and I fell in love with it. But during COVID, that's when I met my boyfriend.
Okay.
And when I met him, we were dating long distance for like a year.
How did that go?
Before I moved. It was actually pretty cool. That was my first long distance relationship ever.
Okay.
We met off social media, but he's from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
And we had the same mutual friends. He found me because him and my cousin are best friends. And he was in my DMs. I ignored him for probably like 2 months before I even respond. But once I responded, he had me.
Gotcha.
Because he has a personality out this world. And what is important to me is a guy that can make me laugh.
Absolutely.
So we were dealing with each other long distance for a while. Our first date was a trip to Miami.
Okay.
And it was around COVID, so, you know, flight tickets were cheap. Nobody was really flying like that.
Yeah.
I was in Atlanta. The first time I came out to visit him, I was out there for 13 days.
Oh, wow.
Came home for like a week, went out there again for another 13 days, and I was like back and forth. And I fell in love with Atlanta, especially being that I was already acting and doing a lot of things in Michigan that I should have probably been moved to Atlanta to pursue. I honestly felt like if I would have did that a long time ago, I would have been a long time ago.
Okay.
But went out there, fell in love with it, and I ended up breaking my pinky toe.
How did you do that?
And I ended up being off of work after the COVID situation. I had broke my pinky toe and ended up getting off work another 6 to 8 weeks paid leave time. So I had a lot of time to think. So during that time, I was binge watching Single Ladies.
Okay.
And you know Single Ladies is based in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm about to move to Atlanta.
Yeah, seriously.
And that's what happened. I called my sister. I said, you know what? I'm about to move to Atlanta. And she was like, for real? And when I said that, something came over me, like this big fear came over me. I started crying. And I was like, I'm scared. And she was like, that's more of a reason why you should go. And I was like, I know. And that's why I'm going to do it, because I'm scared. I know the enemy will put fear in you to stop you from doing something great. So I decided as soon as I was going back to work from my medical leave, that day I put my 2-week notice in. And I was like, I put my 2-week notice in, I think in January. And I was in Atlanta by March 5th.
Okay.
All-Star weekend.
Okay.
So
coming in with a bang.
Here I am.
Okay. So you stated that you've been doing you like to act. You're an actress.
Yes.
So what have you done?
I started off modeling first. I was modeling since I was like 18. Okay. And I ended up losing the love for modeling because I felt like being in the city where I was, there was a lot of like people. I felt like the respect for modeling was just going down. You got a lot of these urban models that want to be naked and do a lot of it was so sexualized. Yeah. It made me lose the love for it.
Gotcha.
I got a taste of acting. I was like, oh, I could get used to this. Yeah. It gave me an adrenaline rush, and that's how I knew I wanted to do it.
Okay.
So the first movie I did, it was just, I was just an extra in it.
Okay.
And I don't even remember the name of the movie. I just know I got paid for it. And that was a long time ago, back like in 2013 or something like that. And I just had to play someone that was walking in the mall. It was a big explosion. I had to act like it was a big explosion, debris flying everywhere. I had to act like my ears was ringing. I had so much fun doing that. I did. My second movie I did, it was called The Perfect Romance. That's on Tubi. I played Lisa. I don't even remember the last name of the character, but Lisa I played, and I was the assistant of the main character. That was fun. I was supposed to be in the whole movie, but you know, when you're dealing with low budget films, everybody got jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like you have to go by everybody's schedule.
That's true.
So I'm like in the first 10 minutes of that. I felt like I did a good job in that.
You did. I saw it.
But you know, it is what it is. And then my second movie, I had the major role in that, and that was called Making Moves. That's also on Tubi. I played Eb. And it was about me being like a queen pin, and I was married to someone who was a major drug dealer, and we were going through a divorce, but I had another love interest that I was pursuing that was also a major drug dealer on the other side of town. So I had to deal with that situation. Yeah. So I had fun shooting that one too. And right now I'm working on a movie. It's a Christian film. Okay. I love that because I feel like I'm a Christian. Yeah. I'm a God-fearing woman.
Yeah.
And it's based on a marriage that my husband is trying to fix, and I'm basically checked out. I don't want to fix it. I play a woman that's not a Christian. Okay. I'm just like over it. I'm not trying to fix my marriage, and we're going to therapy. And that's pretty much what I need to tell you for that one, because I don't want to give that away.
Okay. I'll wait on that one too. Okay, when is that one due to come out?
I'm not sure exactly, because we had to do some finishing touches actually today. Okay. And I will get, information on when that'll come out, but it's called Final Chance.
Okay. Okay. I look forward to seeing
that'll be on Tubi too.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
I know these Tubi movies are crazy these days.
There's some good movies though. There's some good movies on Tubi. I like Tubi. I deal with Tubi. I like Tubi.
Yeah, it's good.
So what made you just like become who you are? So let's just talk about growing up, Ebony, that brought you to this whole point. I know you stated before, like, you just got to saying, just fucking, I'm finna do it. But what brought you to this point? How was childhood for you?
Well, childhood wasn't always the best for me.
And the only reason I say that, not to cut you off, you keep talking about your sister a lot. So
I got two sisters.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So I was the only child for 10 years.
Okay.
So that's when my middle sister was born, named Asia.
Okay.
I was 10 years old when she was born, but before that, I want to say that it was rough growing up because my mom, was in the streets and stuff on drugs, and my dad wasn't around.
Okay.
I had a lot of uncles, a lot of cousins, and some aunties. My grandmother mostly raised me, but my grandmother was an alcoholic. And she actually dabbled in drugs as well.
Okay.
But I had that old school Southern mentality. She raised me on that old school Southern mentality. So, I got my butt whooped when I needed it.
Okay.
I felt like I got disciplined.
Okay.
The way I needed to, or with the switch, go get the switch. But I stopped getting disciplined when I hit like probably about 10 or 12. I stopped getting whoopings because I was with my mom all the time by then.
Gotcha.
So as a teenager, I was angry. I was very angry because when my sisters came about, I felt like I had to take on the role of help raising my sisters.
Okay.
So I missed a lot of school. And I basically had to fend for them a lot. And it was tough because but it made me grow up.
Yeah.
It made me grow up very fast. I was forced to grow up fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I seen a lot of things when I was young. I had a lot of my uncles and cousins were pimps and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I seen a lot. And it's crazy because a lot of people that know me might not know my story, and and when they hear my story, they're like, dang, I would have never known that you went through that because of how you carry yourself. But I feel like, what you go through either breaks you or makes you stronger. And it really depends on you as a person and your mentality of what you want for yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you got a lot of people that grow up in that and they become that. You know what I mean? But I thank God that I was living in the suburbs and I had a diverse group of friends that actually had 2-parent homes.
Yeah.
And I got to see other things, you know what I mean? And I knew for a fact that what I was growing up in, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted different. I knew that I wasn't going to raise my kids the way my mama raised me. I knew that I was going to be affectionate with my kids. My mom wasn't really affectionate with me unless she was drinking.
Oh, wow.
You know, when she was sober, she acted like she didn't want nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now me and my mom have a great relationship.
That's good.
And but it took for me to change for us to have a great relationship, because growing up I didn't think my mom was ever gonna change.
Okay.
Because she had a drug issue for a long time.
Okay.
It took for me to I want to say that when I decided I was gonna move out of Michigan, I want to say when I went to Puerto Rico, I went skydiving.
Okay.
And I did that for a purpose of getting rid of my fears. Not a fear of heights.
Yeah.
I don't have a fear of heights.
Yeah.
It was just fear of just life stuff. You know what I mean? And when I did that, it kind of opened my mind up to be like, okay, you know what? I got some underlying issues and anger towards my mom.
Okay.
And I knew because when I was younger, I was molested like 3 different times in my life. The first time when I was 3, the second time when I was 7, and the last time when I was 10.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I was 3 years old, I could still remember it like it was yesterday. Okay.
Wow.
And I was angry with my mom for a long time. Because I felt like she didn't protect me.
It was around her? It happened with somebody that y'all knew, or?
It was her boyfriend. She used to leave me with him when she would go to work.
Oh, wow.
And I used to cry and be like, Mom, don't go to work, and grab her by her legs and stuff. And I was angry with her because I felt like, what mother do you know has that reaction from a child and not think that something's wrong?
Something's wrong, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when I would talk to her about it as I got older, before I got over being angry with her, I used to say, like, Ma, I just don't get it. And she would be like, well, I was young, I didn't know better. And I'm like, I feel like that's an excuse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young mothers out here. When you become a mother, that motherly instinct kicks in to protect your children
at all costs. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how young you are.
Yeah.
You know, so but I got over that anger. I realized I was angry with her after all of that, after I decided I was going to move and all of that. And I called her one day because what let me know I was still angry with her was I couldn't talk on the phone with her for long periods of time. I never called her. Whenever we would talk, she would call me. And I would easily get irritated with her for no reason. Just little things that she would do would just make me so mad.
Yeah.
And I had to check myself. And I was like, you know what? Why am I acting like that with her? And she's not even doing none of these things anymore.
Yeah.
She changed her life and everything, but I was still acting like that with her. And I was like, you know what? I'm angry with her. I need to let that go. So I called her one day and I was like, hey, Mom, you know, I'm deciding to move out of Michigan. And I just want to tell you that I forgive you. And that I'm sorry for holding on to a lot of the things I was holding on to. And, you know, I've been angry with you for a long time. And when I did that, it was like a release. And I'm so glad I did that because we're like this now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the things that used to bother me about her, I can laugh at, I can joke about. And it's funny to me now.
Yeah.
You know, and me and my sisters, like, back when my mom was still on drugs, my sisters dealt with her more than I did. And they had a patience with her that I could not understand they had with her.
Yeah.
But the reason why was because I seen my mom from before she got addicted to drugs.
Okay.
So when she was addicted to drugs, she was a completely different person to me.
Yeah.
I felt like the mother I knew was dead and gone. So my sisters weren't around and they didn't understand a lot of the stuff that I went through growing up with my mom. So it was easier for them to deal with her. You know what I mean? But now, you know, I feel like the relationship that all four of us have is amazing. We could literally have our own freaking like reality TV show and it would be so hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, we stay in touch with each other. We have a group chat. And we text and talk to each other every day.
Well, that's good. That's good that you overcame that. That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you forgave her too, because that is not easy. It's like you don't, like, it's like holding a grudge.
Yeah.
And it's like it'll hold you from moving forward in what you're trying to do in life as opposed to addressing the situation so you can. So I'm happy about that for you. You have what? 2 kids of your own?
I do.
Okay.
My kids, my daughter is 17 and my son is 16. They're only 10 months apart.
Okay.
So, you know, they're the same age for like a couple months, then one take off or whatever. So my daughter's my oldest and my son is my baby.
Okay.
So
how is that going with them?
It's good.
Okay.
My daughter's name is Ryan. My son is Justin.
Okay.
They moved down here. Well, when I moved to Atlanta, my daughter came with me immediately.
Okay.
I let my son stay behind for a little bit because I was just going to let him finish off school and stuff. But he had gotten into some trouble back home and trying to defend a friend. A friend had did something and he didn't want to tell, so he took the rep for it and got in trouble.
Okay.
I told his dad, send him down immediately.
Yeah.
So he came down. He ended up staying with me. Oh, no, it was another situation. Let me go back. He got expelled from school. He was being bullied by a boy. And the boy was threatening him and threatening to get his cousins and stuff to jump him and beat him up. So he was constantly FaceTiming my son and making threats and stuff. So my son was like, you know, telling me, you know, to get him to leave him alone, he answered the phone with a gun to basically show the boy, like, leave me the heck alone. You know what I mean? So the boy screenshotted the FaceTime and showed his parents. His parents took it to the school, got my son in trouble, got my son kicked out of school.
And he's been messing with him the whole time.
Yeah. So I had my son come to Atlanta, And he ended up getting enrolled in the school here, but his last 2 weeks that followed him, and he got kicked out of the rest of the year here. Yeah.
From what happened
From
back
what
home?
happened in Michigan.
Wow.
Yep, because we had to do a whole Zoom call and everything with the board of the education and all of that. It was crazy.
That is crazy.
It was crazy. And my son is not a bad kid.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, he's not perfect. He does bad. He gets into stupid stuff, but
All
you know.
kids do.
But yeah, so they were here. Mm-hmm. And I ended up having to move my kids back because, you know, times got tough. When I first moved here, everything was good. I was kicking it, having fun, traveling and all that stuff, but pursuing my personal training because I do that as well. But when I first started doing it, I wasn't bringing in any money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being at that gym where I was every day, I wasn't really getting any clientele like that. So the person who I was under wasn't really feeding me with clientele. So my boyfriend was like, you know, why are you in this gym every day? You need to go market yourself somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when times started getting tight, I had to go find a job.
Yeah.
So when I found a job, I'm working, taking care of my kids. My boyfriend's facing an indictment.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, life started hitting.
Yeah.
And I had distractions.
Okay.
So I'm not pursuing the things that I really want to pursue. And I still haven't gotten to acting yet out here, which is really what I wanted to do down here, you know, and even radio, because I was doing that back home, you know.
Okay.
So I'm just working. And when my boyfriend went into the feds, that's when things got really tough for me. So I had to basically send my kids back to Michigan to be with their dads. And thank God that they have fathers to go to. Because not a lot of women can do that or have that type of situation where they could just send their kids to be with their daddy till they get their shit together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the situation right now. My kids are back home for a little bit, and I plan on them being back as soon as possible.
Okay. How has that been with them now?
I know they miss me a lot. My son called me and check on me every day. He's such a sweetheart. My daughter, she's doing her own thing. It's hard for me to talk to her because when I call her, she acts like she don't want to answer the phone.
Okay.
And I felt like I was the only parent dealing with that with my teenage child. But I hear from other people that's how these teenagers these days, they don't want to answer the phone.
Yeah.
They don't respond to text messages right away. You know, so it's almost like pulling teeth talking to her, you know, but I miss them like crazy.
Yeah.
I drive up Roswell Road, past my old apartment complex in the morning on my way to work, and I get emotional because I think about when they were getting up, going to school every morning at the bus stop, and it just makes me think of them, you know, so... Yeah, that's really the tough part for me, just me missing my kids.
Yeah.
So I just wish they was here with me right now.
Well, you working on it, and that's all you can do.
Yeah.
You can't beat yourself up pertaining that because you got a plan in motion. So
yeah, I always got a plan, and I'm always on the hustle.
Yeah, you gotta be. Exactly. So that way you won't fail. And things happen, but at least you still stepping up to the plate, like you said. Their fathers, they stepping up to the plate. How is the relationship with them?
Actually, I have a great relationship with both of my kids' fathers.
Okay.
When I was with my son's father, well, let me start with my daughter's dad. When I was with him, it was rocky. My first 2 years, I was with him for 2 years.
Okay.
He had just got out of prison when I was dealing with him, and he was
like thugs, don't you, Ebony? Everybody?
No,
you like the thug guys.
Crazy. I did back in the day, but when I started dealing with him, I was trying to get over that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just seemed like that just kept following me, and that's what was attracted to me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they got that confidence. And I love a confident man.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, but I was dealing with him, and his ex-girlfriend was in our relationship the whole time. So when I got pregnant with my daughter, when I was 2 months pregnant with her, I found out his ex-girlfriend was pregnant too at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And that was my final straw. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't even want to deal with him no more. Whether
Yeah.
I decide to keep my baby or not, I'm cool. Like, because when I first found out I was pregnant, I struggled with dealing with the decision of whether I was going to keep my baby or not, because I was going through so much with him.
Yeah.
And it was my first pregnancy ever. You know, and I was doing good. I had a job, my own place and all that. So it's not like, you know,
was
I
hurting for anything.
Yeah, you know. But still I was young, and I pictured myself having a child with a man that I was in a good relationship with.
Yeah.
So, I had one of my cousins. I wouldn't keep it if I was you, but I had friends and telling me, no, keep your baby. So I was just going through this. Yeah. But I ended up deciding for myself that I was going to keep my daughter. And I was like, well, you know, I'm not the type of woman that would ever keep a child from their father.
Right.
No matter what's going on.
Yeah.
Unless he's dangerous and he's beating my ass.
Yeah.
Child molester or some shit like that. I would never do that. You got a lot of bitter baby mamas that keep their kids from their fathers. Like, bitch, don't you need a break?
Exactly.
Because you gonna need help. Yeah, you know. So even though I was angry with him for putting me what he put me through, I was like, well, if he wanna be in his daughter's life, he can. And if not, so be it. I'm not gonna force it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And of course, he wanted to be. And he was still trying to pursue a relationship with me. But at that point, I was over it. I wasn't even sexually attracted to him anymore. So when I had my daughter, when I hit 6 months, when I had hit like 6 months of being pregnant, I ended up dating my son's dad. We ended up being in a relationship.
Okay.
What Jada Pinkett caught an entanglement.
Okay.
I fell into an entanglement.
Okay.
With a friend of mine.
Okay.
/ coworker.
Okay.
He was that shoulder to cry on.
While you was pregnant?
While I was pregnant.
Okay.
And I had knew him way before I got pregnant. Way before I was in a relationship with my daughter's dad.
Okay.
He was always a good friend of mine. And I was going through so much when I was pregnant with my daughter, like constantly dealing with his ex, constantly calling my phone, hanging up, all kinds of stuff. And he was there for me. So we ended up eventually being, seeing each other while I was like 6 months pregnant. So after I had my daughter, we ended up being in a full-blown relationship. And that's how I ended up having my son.
Okay.
So, but being that my daughter's dad, I wasn't putting him in all my business, but he was still trying to pursue me.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to be with him like that. And
now, did you and the female that he was basically cheating with, do y'all get along?
Oh, no. Still to this day, she hates my guts. And she's hating my guts from the moment she seen me. And it's like, why you mad at me when this man done lied to both of us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's crazy because she put me through so much. She done bust the windows out of my car back then. When I came home from the hospital having my baby, you know, they was knocking on my door at 8 o'clock in the morning trying to jump me, her and her friend. She had a friend, they was trying to jump me. I almost committed murder that day.
Oh, wow.
I would have had a murder case that day if it wasn't for him, because I went and grabbed a knife. I'm not in a position to be fighting. I just had a baby.
Yeah, your body all over the place.
I had a knife. I was literally going to let them come up in my house, and I was going to let them have it.
With that knife?
I was going to let both of them have it.
People are crazy.
I sure was. I was ready. And I would have got away with murder,
You
too.
would have.
I would have got away.
Postpartum, all of that. You would have known.
I would have got away with it.
Absolutely. People are crazy.
Yeah, so, you know, I was just over it.
Yeah.
I was just over it. Because I let him come around after I had my daughter to help me out with childcare and stuff like that, because it was expensive.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I was trying to get food stamps and stuff like that, and I got put on. I did get childcare, but whenever I worked overtime, they would cut me off. So it was tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I did that, and he threatened to, when he found out that I was pursuing a different relationship with my son's father, he threatened my life. He sure did. Threatened to shoot me in my face. I had to get a restraining order on him. So when I got a restraining order on him, that's when my family kind of pushed me to move in with my son's father. I didn't want to do it.
Okay.
Because I wasn't in love with him.
Okay.
So I was like, I love him, but I'm not in love with him enough to move in with him.
Yeah.
And I felt like the only reason why we ended up pursuing a relationship was because we had a child together. So I ended up getting a restraining order. My family's like, girl, you need to go ahead and do it, at least for your protection and all this other stuff. So I went ahead and I did it. You know what I mean? And we was living together. We was together for 4 years. And I ended up falling for him.
Okay.
And I actually thought he was going to be the man that I was going to marry until he got complacent and comfortable and started showing his real true self.
Oh, wow.
So I was going to church, you know, regularly, and I felt like we were unequally yoked. And I don't know, have you ever like been somewhere or in someone's home and you just feel the enemy in the place, in the room? I just feel like that's how it was in the house.
Yeah.
I was going through a spiritual battle.
Okay.
I would go to church on Sunday. I would feel so good when I would leave church and walk into the house, and all that would just be
Hell
like,
just break loose.
Yeah.
Like something just took over. Yeah.
And my final straw with him, when I kind of knew, okay, I need to work my way up out this relationship, is one day we were having a conversation, and I was like, dang. I was like, do you even believe in God? And he was like, sometimes I wonder, you know? And I think he got a lot of anger issues that's deep rooted because his father had committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, his parents aren't even from the United States.
Okay.
He's Latino.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And that was another issue we had between us because I felt like he didn't understand me as a black woman. Every time life situations would happen where it was black against white, and we would have, it was always a debate.
Yeah.
Oh, well, black people weren't the only ones that were slaves. And, you know, it was always something to where we was battling. It's like, why we always got to have this debate about, like,
differences and
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I just felt like that was an issue between us. And you got biracial relationships that work out all the time. But he looks at black people, he looks at Americans as selfish because he felt like, well, my parents didn't know English when they came to this country and they started their own business. And I just feel like Americans complain too much, and I don't understand how, you know, they don't have, they can sit on their butt and not work and complain about this and complain about that. And, you know, and I get what he's saying to a certain extent. Yeah. Because you do got people from other countries that come here.
Yeah.
And they make it happen.
They take over.
They do.
They take over.
You know what I mean? So what's our excuses?
Yeah. That's true. They take over.
You know, I just, that created a lot of tension between us too. But I ended up having to get out of that relationship because I just felt like we were unequally yoked. You know what I mean? He's a good father. He's a good provider. He's a good man. And my daughter's dad changed his life. He got out of the streets and he started working, and me and him are like the best of friends now. I could talk to him about my relationships and he will give me good advice. You know, my son's father is married now. It's funny because the woman he's married to is my father's wife's niece. And that side of my family hate my family. And it's like, out of all people that you marry her. Yeah, basically. Because my father's wife, when my father passed away, my aunt and her didn't put me and my other two sisters on my dad's side on the obituary. My other aunt had to before the service started, had to take the obituary and rip it up and make a new one, like right then and there, and put us on it because my brother, which is my dad's wife's son, he was on there, but we weren't on there because I got three other sisters.
Okay, on
or
your
whatever
dad's
on
side.
my dad's side,
Okay.
and two of them are older than me. One's right under me.
Okay.
But for some reason, my dad's wife couldn't stand my mom out of all the other baby mamas because they all grew up in the same neighborhood. My mom says, it was because, a lot of girls were jealous of them because they were high yellow.
Okay.
Girls in the neighborhood.
Okay.
My Aunt Joy almost could pass for a white woman. She had the freckles and the curly hair and all that. And so my dad's wife, girlfriend at the time when they were growing up, they couldn't stand my mom and my aunties. And they and it didn't help that my mom and my dad was in the band together. My dad was pursuing my mom, and my mom lost her virginity to my dad and got pregnant with me.
Okay.
Yeah, so that didn't help. It made it worse. So it's like a generational beef going on. They can't stand my mom and them, so it's like the next generation, the next generation, they passing it on to them, so they don't like me, My dad's wife, she, when I used to call for my dad, she used to be mean to me on the phone and act like she didn't want me to talk to him, stuff like that.
Been there, done that.
So yeah. And it's crazy because now her niece is married to my son's father.
Now, how does that work?
My son, he liked her at first when they first started dating. But as he's gotten older and he started seeing things and hearing things, he respects her.
Yeah.
But my son is real quiet. He don't say much, but he's very smart. And he's like, he tells me, I'm just not feeling that. Like, I don't understand that, Mom. Like, but he respects her, as he should, I teach my kids to be very respectful. Absolutely. And to, I try to teach them to think for themselves too. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I really don't feel personally like he married her because I can't tell. Who am I to say if he love her or not?
Yeah.
But he didn't decide to marry her until after I told him I was going to move to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So before we left, we had a dinner. He took us out for breakfast. I think me and my kids, we all went to breakfast. And he was like, yeah, so I'm about to get married. And I was like, oh, congratulations, because I'm truly happy for my kids' fathers, whoever they decide to be with, as long as they love them and my kids. And he was like, yeah, she's a good girl. She takes care of her parents, and I just want to make my mom happy before she leave this earth. Oh, and that was it. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my reaction. Like, I was waiting for him to say, like, what? I was like, well, damn, do you love her? Like, honestly, Kara, she's not much to look at. I'm like, she doesn't even seem your type. Yeah. Like, for real. I feel like you just picked whatever you could. I felt like
you're feeling that void from you.
Yeah, basically. Like, I feel like you just picked what fuck with you. And that's what that's what you settled for. Because the women you dealt with before me, like, come on. Yeah. Like, this is what you married?
Yeah.
Like, for real. Yeah. So, but I mean, I feel like am I wrong for that? Because
no, you just that's your opinion. I mean, you still married her, and that's their thing now. Yeah. Like you say, your biggest thing is
this is another reason why I say this, though, because he doesn't want any more kids.
Okay.
She has no kids. She wants kids. Before they got married, her and her mother were trying to force him to have children. And he's like, I'm done having kids. I got my son. I'm good.
Yeah.
So he told me, he said her mom, this was before they got married, her mom and her are trying to force me on wanting to have children. And I told them I don't want to have children. I don't think this is going to work between us. So I'm thinking after he told me they was going to get married, I'm like, well, what changed your mind? What makes you think she's still not going to try to force you? Because when a person want what they want, they're going to try to do whatever they can to get it.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe
Yeah.
when she tell you she on birth control or she tell you this, because she might pull one on you.
Or he may have a change of heart.
He
Because
might.
that's now his, I ain't gonna say issue, but that's now his thing.
Yeah.
That's your thing is make sure you just do what you do for our kid.
But he's older than me, so he like 45, 45, 46 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's starting all over again.
It is.
Jeez, yeah.
I got my tubes tied when I was 38 years old.
Okay.
I knew I was done because I knew I was knocking on 40.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I was trying to save because I said, you know what? I'm going to try to see if I get married, I may give my husband a child. That's what I was trying to wait for.
Because you said that was 38. How old are you, E?
I just turned 42.
Again, we don't crack.
Yeah.
That's why y'all had that debate. Like that. That's why. You look good, girl.
Thank you.
You
I
look
appreciate
good.
it.
You just turned 42?
I just turned 42 on September 27th.
Get out. How was that experience?
It was great. I went to Nashville with a group of girls.
Okay.
I had fun.
That's
good. We got our little cowgirl boots and stuff like that. Daisy Dukes. I had my Daisy Dukes on.
Yeah.
I probably overdid it.
No,
I don't
was
feel
your
like I
birthday.
overdid it, but I did more than what everybody else did because
you were supposed to.
I had the hat and the belt with the big buckle and all of that. You know what I mean?
You
we were supposed to be going to a honky tonk club. We did the bar bike and that was fun, and cooked, and we had a nice Airbnb. We cooked and played games and stuff like that.
That's what's up.
I felt like my experience would have been a little better if it was my group of friends. But it wasn't. It was a friend of mine group of friends.
Okay.
So, and everybody got along.
I was just going to say, and then you're a people's person, so.
I am.
Yeah, that'll keep you going.
Sometimes, though, I just can't deal with too many women when it comes to groups because it's always somebody that's giving some kind of attention. I feel like I felt like, and it could just be me, but I felt like it was some of that in there.
For no reason. But you know what? I hate that with us too, just not to jump off subject, but we tend to do that from time to time. And we talk about how, we want to do stuff and grow and sister this, sister that, but that really bugs me because I just feel like, especially when you don't know a person, get to know them. You never know what kind of connections or relationships you are gaining. That's just like with us.
Yep.
Instant. And here it is now, you on the podcast, which I appreciate you coming on. But still, like, females can be weird at times.
Yeah, I had a best friend back home. We were friends. We were real tight for like 3 years. And she always kept a group of girls around her all the time. But I was considered her best friend.
Okay.
And even though she kind of had a couple other best friends too.
Yeah.
But I never forget one day she had like a gathering, and it was probably like 12, 15 girls. I came last because at that time I worked second shift. I didn't get off work till like 10:45. I get there probably like almost 12 o'clock, right?
Okay.
I walk in and and soon as I walk in, I'm like, hey, everybody, how y'all doing? It's one girl at the table looking at me like this. Come to find out, I see her lean over and say something to the other girl. Come to find out, she asked the girl next to her, who is that?
Automatically hate.
Yeah, never met the girl. Never met her. And, So when I found out, she was acting like that, I'm the type of person, I'm going to give you something to be mad about.
Absolutely.
Like, you want to act like that with me, and I you don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm going to purposely make my presence known every time.
But it's sad it has to be like that.
Yeah.
Even just to wrap that up, because I don't even want to speak on that long, it's just sad. Like, we rightfully just have to do better. So that's like even when I meet people or just get to know other people, you got to give people a chance. When people show you they are, you just treat them accordingly.
Yeah.
Either you fuck with them or you don't. That's just how I look at that when it
so
comes to that.
I kind of keep to myself a lot. I got a lot of male friends.
Yeah,
I do.
That was me.
But I mean, I deal with females in doses.
Okay.
In doses. Because I feel like I got to protect myself. I
Yeah.
got to protect my energy. I got to protect my heart. Because even friendships, when you break up, it's like breaking up.
It is.
It's a real
Yeah.
relationship.
Been there. Yep.
And I take my relationships very seriously.
Yeah.
Very seriously. So yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to really protect who I let in my circle.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of growth too. Like, so I'm just gonna righteously wrap it up on my end. Like, what do you have coming? You say you got the last movie that's coming. What's moving forward? What are you working on now?
Well, right now I'm focusing on my personal training.
Okay.
I want to start a virtual fitness site.
Okay.
So I'm working on that.
Okay.
And right now I got a partner that I'm collaborating with as far as
Awesome.
training in the gym.
Okay.
He's focusing on working on getting his own gym out here. He's from Michigan as well.
Okay.
He came down here to build
Pursue that.
Yep.
Okay.
And he's working for another gym right now, but his goal is to have his own gym.
Okay.
And he asked me not too long ago, actually a couple days ago, how did I feel about partnering up with him? And I was like, oh, I'm for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because health and fitness is my passion.
And it's very important.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like acting too.
Okay. Might be doing like a health kick movie. Okay,
Yeah.
I can see that. Well, E, again, man, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I will have you on again. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I have a lot to talk. I could write a book.
You should.
And I kind of felt like I was all over the place, like skipping. Man,
It's okay.
I'm telling you.
It's okay. You can come back. We can do an Ebony part 2. We can definitely do an Ebony part 2. But still, let everybody know where to find you, how to get in contact with you. Let them know where to go for the movie. Tell them about the movie again.
So far, I would just say Instagram, eClassFit. That's my IG. I am Ebony Mayberry. I think that's my TikTok. I don't really use that too often, but I just use my IG page pretty much. I don't really get into Twitter, but I do probably need to do that more.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay. Well, thanks again for coming on. You guys know where to find me, Queen's Opinion Podcast on IG. If you are trying to collab, if you want to come on, just reach out to Queen's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. I am on TikTok. I am on YouTube. If you're not following, go ahead and do so. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.